Madhava Punjabi Hari. Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari. Jai Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Bhajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Bhajajana Ranjana. Yamunatira Vanachari. Yamunatira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari. Jai Mr. Pad Paramahansa Pradikacharya Ashtoto the Sri Srimad Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Pradikacharya Ashtoto the Sri Srimad Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Ananda Koti Vaishnavina Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glory to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Okay, I know we're in this long purport to text 2 of chapter 9, but I've lost track of exactly where we are in that purport. Looks like somewhere in page 376, 377. You remember the end of it? Oh, okay. Well, if we get the end of that paragraph, we'll get the beginning of the next one. Oh. Okay. Yeah, I remember we didn't do that one. I just didn't. Uttama? No way. That's too. No, that's text 3 already, Prabhu. We're still in this long purport to text 2, which was written actually as a separate essay. Oh yeah, you got the old book. Is it? Yeah, that sounds familiar. But you're on a different book there. Let me see the book. Bring the book. You've got the old book, the one old book, with different page numbers. Hold on.
Right there, because you said it's not supposed to be enjoying. It's supposed to be that we are entertaining.
I think you might be right. As explained in the 28th verse, right here.
Yes, and explain. Yes.
He might be right. Bottom of page 376 in the other book. You have the other book. Can you use the other book? We're going to take this book. take it home with me. There's another one. There must be another one. Or you can find this one.
You told me the typo, and it registered in my mind. I have a typo.
Here. No. You have the old one too? No, he's got it there. The new one. The old one is here, right here. Hare Krishna. Okay. All right. So we're going to chant the verse again. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay. On the 6th day of January 2019 in SanDiego, we're reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. We are in chapter 9 entitled The Most Confidential Knowledge, and we're in the middle of the purport there, but we'll chant the verse again and then read from where we left off. Radya Vidya Radya Guhyam Pavatram Idamuttamam Pratyakshabagamam Dharmyam Susukam Kartamabhyam Radha Vidya Radha Guhyam Pavatram Idamuttamam Pratyakshabagamam Dharmyam Susukam Kartamabhyam Radha Vidya Radha Guhyam Pavatram Idamuttamam Pratyakshabagamam Dharmyam Susukam Kartamabhyam Radha Vidya Radha Guhyam Pavatram Idamuttamam Pratyakshabagamam Dharmyam Susukam Kartamabhyam. Radha Vidya Radha Guhyam Pavittamidamuttamam Pratyakshabagamam Dharmyam Susukam Kartamabhyam. Go ahead. Yeah, you can try. Radha Vidya Radha Guhyam Pavitram Idamuttamam Pratyakshabagamam. Not Pratyakshabagamam. 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 Shavagamam. No, Shavagamam. All right, last. Okay, next, Susukam. Go ahead. Susukam Kartamabhyam. You want to try it, Darshan? Radha Vidya Radha Guhyam Pavatram Idamuttamam Pratyakshabagamam Dharmyam Susukam Kartam Avyayam. Okay. Translation. This knowledge is the king of education, the most secret of all secrets. It is the purest knowledge, and because it gives direct perception of the self by realization, it is the perfection of religion. It is everlasting, and it is joyfully performed. Okay, and so we are at the bottom of page 376, the last paragraph there. As explained in the 28th verse of the 7th chapter, a person who has completely ended the reactions of all sinful activities and who is fully engaged in pious activities, being freed from the duality of this material world, becomes engaged in devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. In other words, those who are actually engaged in the devotional service of the Supreme Lord are already freed from all reactions. This statement is confirmed in the Padma Purana. Aprarabdha palam papam kutam bijam palonmukham kramenaiva paliyeta Vishnu bhakti ratatmanam. For those who are engaged in the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all sin-free actions, whether fructified in the stock or in the form of a seed, gradually vanish. Therefore, the purifying potency of devotional service is very strong, and it is called pavitram uttamam, the purest. Uttama means transcendental, tamas means this material world or darkness, and uttama means that which is transcendental to material activities. Devotional activities are never to be considered material, although sometimes it appears that devotees are engaged just like ordinary men. One who can see and is familiar with devotional service will know that they are not material activities. They are all spiritual and devotional, uncontaminated by the material modes of nature. It is said that the execution of devotional service is so perfect that one can perceive the results directly. So now Prabhupada is describing Pratyaksha-avagamamdam. Pratyaksha means direct. We read this, see? Direct experience, understood through direct experience. He's going through systematically. It is said that the execution of devotional service is so perfect that one can perceive the results directly. This direct result is actually perceived, and we have practical experience that any person who is chanting the holy names of Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, in course of chanting without offenses, feels some transcendental pleasure and very quickly becomes purified of all material contamination. This is actually seen. Furthermore, if one engages not only in hearing but in trying to broadcast the message of devotional activities as well, or if he engages himself in helping the missionary activities of Krishna consciousness, he gradually feels spiritual progress. This advancement in spiritual life does not depend on any kind of previous education or qualification. The method itself is so pure that by simply engaging in it, one becomes pure. In the Vedanta Sutra 3.226, this is described, or also described in the following words: Prakashasta karman yabhyasat. Devotional service is so potent that simply by engaging in the activities of devotional service, one becomes enlightened without a doubt. A practical example of this can be seen in the previous life of Narada, who in that life happened to be the son of a maidservant. He had no education, nor was he born into a high family. But when his mother was engaged in serving great devotees, Narada also became engaged, and sometimes in the absence of his mother, he would serve the great devotees himself. Narada personally says, Uchishta lepan anamodito dvijay sakrit smabunje tadupasta kilbisha. Evam pravittasya vishuddha chetasas tad dharma evat naruchi prajayate. In this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.25, Narada describes his previous life to his disciple Vyasadeva. He says that while engaged as a boy servant for those purified devotees during the 4 months of their stay, he was intimately associating with them. Sometimes those sages left remnants of food on their dishes, and the boy who would wash their dishes wanted to taste the remnants. So he asked the great devotees for their permission, and when they gave it, Narada ate those remnants and consequently became freed from all sinful reactions. As he went on eating, he gradually became as pure-hearted as the sages. The great devotees relished the taste of unceasing devotional service to the Lord by hearing and chanting, and Narada gradually developed the same taste. Narada says further, Tatranvaham Krishna Kata Pagayatam Anugrahena Shrinavam Manohara Ha Shuddhaya Me Nupadam Vishrinvata Priyashabhasyangamamabivad ruchihi. By associating with the sages, Narada got the taste for hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord, and he developed a great desire for devotional service. Therefore, as described in the Vedanta Sutra, Prakashas cha karman yabhyasat. If one is engaged simply in the acts of devotional service, everything is revealed to him automatically, and he can understand this. This is called pratyaksha, directly perceived. Om jnana timirandasya jnanandana shalakaya chakshu unmilitam mena tasmai shri gurave namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, but my spiritual master Srila Prabhupada opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisance unto him and to all members of Sri Parampara. So, Srila Prabhupada is systematically going through this very important verse, text 2 of chapter 9, and explaining each word. So, we read the last section of the explanation of Pavitram Itam Uttamam, which means the supremely purifying process of devotional service. And what do we need to be purified of? All of the dirt that we've accumulated in lifetimes, which takes the form of what we call sinful reactions. And there was this description of how they mature. Just like there's a creeper of devotion in our hearts that we can cultivate, which is very auspicious naturally, and which ultimately fructifies into the delightful fruit of love of Godhead. That's described by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his teachings to Rupa Goswami in the 19th chapter of Madhya Lila, Chaitanya Charitamrita. The seed is planted. It's called the Bhakti Lata Bij. Bhakti is devotional service. Lata is the creeper or a plant that grows. And the seed has to be imparted or planted in the heart. And that's imparted by the mercy of both the Guru and Krishna. We're wandering up and down different planetary system, different species. We're just wandering from one to another as souls. And we're suffering threefold miseries: birth, old age, disease, and death in each one. But the fortunate soul who comes in contact with the preceptor, who is empowered by Krishna and sent by Krishna, gets the mercy, and that seed of devotion is planted. And what does the seed consist of? Well, a lot of things, but the two main ones are the faith in the process, faith in Krishna, and faith in the Guru, and the interest and the taste for chanting the holy name, in the modern age especially. We see, somehow each of us came in touch with someone somehow who was enjoining us to chant the holy name. It may be directly from a book, just like we see in the book Srila Prabhupada, sometimes he includes the Harekrishna mantra. But also, generally, we need a personal association to give us the impetus, show us how, encourage us to chant. So when that seed is planted, we have to water it. We have to water it by the process chiefly of, who knows? Hearing and chanting. Shavan Kirtan Jal, the water of hearing and chanting. And that, of course, that takes place oftentimes in the association of devotees as well. In kirtan, you're hearing and you're chanting, and it's watering the seed. And there's also offenses to be avoided. We're like cultivating this garden of love of God in our hearts. And there's all these weeds that are also trying to choke off that plant. And those weeds are offenses. The offenses against the holy name. If you blaspheme another devotee, we chant these every morning. You've been there at Mangalarti. After the whole program, we're chanting to offend the great devotees who have dedicated their lives to propagating the holy name, to consider other names of gods, of the demigods, such as Brahma or Shiva or Chandra or whatever, to be equal to or independent of. There's two varieties there. One is that, oh, they're equal name. We can chant any name. Just chant something, you know. I remember when I first began practicing yoga, it was integral yoga, and that meant that there was a little of everything. We did some asanas. That was the chief thing people were interested, you know. But there was also breathing, you know, pranayama, and there was some chanting and meditation. So the chanting, there were different mantras. I remember Om Namo Shivaya, Om Namo Shivaya. We chant that for like 30 seconds. And we chant this, that, and we chant Hare Krishna also. They'll be in there. Huh? You remember that? This was in the early 70s, I did, yeah. So, but that's not, you know, you're not going to develop pure love for Krishna by doing that, because it's a little of everything. In other words, that's blasphemous to consider Lord Shiva and Brahma, what to speak of the other gods, on the same level with Krishna. You can chant any name. And the other one is equal to, independent of, means, well, okay, Krishna's got unique, you know, things. I want that, so I'm going to chant his name. But I don't want to miss out on Ganesh, you know, what he can offer. He can offer different things, so let me chant his name also. That's independent of. Everything that the gods can give you is coming from Krishna originally. He says that in Bhagavad Gita. So we should worship Krishna directly and not for anything material. So all of these understandings and how we help us to chant purely with the simple desire, "Oh Krishna, oh Radha, please engage me in your service." That's the mood, of chanting. We're not asking for anything material. That's the pure chanting. So that's was described, this pavitram in this verse, going back to the verse, is purifying. The process of bhakti purifies us of things that have accumulated over lifetimes, called sinful reactions. And we need to get free of those, because those are weighing us down. They're fructifying as we lead each lifetime. They come in different forms of suffering, Now there's also good things that we've done, and they'll also fructify, but it's all material. So that purifying process of devotional service is very essential. Prabhupada refers to the 7th chapter here. Now, in the 7th chapter, there's a verse which Prabhupada would sometimes cite as the explanation of how we came to this material world. Now we're getting a big draft. Where is it coming from? Is it coming from up here? Is it coming from back there? Can we close with... Yeah. Huh? Isn't it? Yeah, I feel it too. Yeah, see if you can close whatever is open. Maybe it's the back door. The back door open. No, I closed that one. I hope they didn't open it again. All right, we'll continue. We're going to tolerate, right? Tolerate the dualities. Huh? You didn't feel anything? Good. Huh? All right, close the front door. It looks like it's pretty closed. Anyway, this is just the way it is. One day we'll have heat in this building. They built it. Oh, it's SanDiego. We don't need any heat. Oh, somewhere or other. Huh? Heat. We'll have plenty of heat in the summer. I'm putting it on pause. It was announced on Sunday. I think you did stay for the kirtan. You split, right? After before the, I think it was before the talk or after the talk. Yeah, the announcement. So that we paid off the whole mortgage, and hopefully we're going to continue to get some donations and put in an HVAC system, which means heating as well as cooling. That was something. So I'm sorry? Yep, So that's our next project. Hopefully it won't take 5 years, or maybe take 6 months. In the meantime, you would get extra credit for sitting through the freezing cold in a class, not sitting home comfortably in front of the internet. Okay, that was not recorded. Now we're back to the class. So the verse that Prabhupada is referring to, Ichcha dvesha samutena dvandva mohena bharata sarvabhutani sammoham sarge yanti parantapa. Now what he's referring to, Krishna says there, is that Ichcha dvesha. Ichcha means desire, and dvesha means just the opposite, abhorrence. Samutena, arising from those two, we become bewildered by the duality of this material world. Ichcha dvesha samutena dvandva moha. Moha means bewilderment. Dvandva means two, dualities. Sarvabhutani sammoham sarga yanti parantapa. Every living entity who's come into this material world is called sarga. Sarga yanti. We've been victimized. We victimize ourselves by Ichcha dvesha. How does that work? I desire something other than to serve Krishna, and I am abhor serving Krishna. You see? So I want to enjoy. I want to enjoy separately from Krishna, material life. So arising from that comes our sense of duality, good and bad, in relation to this material world. And that's how we came into this world. That's how we fell. We have to be purified. We have to transcend or get rid of that dvandva moha. So that's described in the next verse, which Prabhupada refers to here. Yesham tvantakatam papam jananam punya karmanam te dvandva moha nirmukta bhajante maham judabhata. Notice the word dvandva moha is in that verse. Nirmukta, mukta, you're free of. How? By acting sinlessly, by performing, your sin is finished. You're not committing any new sin, and you're performing only punya, only pious activities. And that's understood that in this context, that pious activities is devotional service activities. You see? So you're clearing away, because of the very, very great purifying power of devotion, that you're being cured of the delusion of duality that has kept us bound in this material world. So that's part of this purifying process that we've spoke about up to now. Now, beginning in the paragraph beginning, it is said the execution of the Buddha is so perfect, one can perceive the results directly. Now he's describing the word pratyakshavagam nama, which we all tripped over because it's a long word. Pratyaksha means direct experience. You know, just like I can describe till I'm blue in the face. You know, my experience of visiting Chennai. I was there. You know, I didn't spend much time. Let me say Tirupati. You know, I can describe it, and it's very interesting. You may really want to go there. There's this incredible climb. You go. There's a temple there that's thousands of years old, and there's the deity, and there's 100,000 people a day visit that temple, and they all give donations. And we learned from the president of the ISKCON temple there, which is very fabulous. They set up because there's pilgrims going up this mountain, and there's 100,000 a day who visit it. And the deity is famous for bestowing boons on anyone who gives a donation. I don't know what the multiple is, but they take in thousands and thousands of dollars every day. And so the idea is that, it's like an investment. So all kinds of people come and put money. They don't have a little hundi here. They got a big funnel. Big funnel, you can put things in there. There's women walking around shaved up. What's going on? They donated their hair. Yeah. The hair could be very valuable. It's apparently it's in great demand in Japan or something like that. The hair, the wonderful glossy hair weaving, yeah, Indian hair, yeah. So that goes in the big funnel, and then they sell it. They have $100 billion in the bank, not rupees, $100 billion. Why they accumulate? I mean, if we had $100 billion, we'd make a million temples. $100 billion, billion. I thought it was a trillion at first, but I carried it out to zero. So anyway, we got to see the deity. We're not into that, I'll invest $100 and I'll get $1,000 back, in my business. I had to borrow 100 rupees and drop it in just so I had something, But devotees don't go in order to pray for that. We understood that the deity loves the prayers of Queen Kunti. So I was chanting the prayers of Queen Kunti that I know about half of them. That was a great experience. Amazing opulence. Literally, there's whole parts of the building that are played, solid gold. I mean, we could see that, So it's for real. Now, you got a certain experience from me describing it, not very well. So, but if you actually go there, that's pratyaksha, direct experience. The classic example Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati would give with the jar of honey. I can describe to you how these bees, they took such and such flour and we've analyzed it. What the percentage is. Who cares? Let me open the jar and see if I can taste the honey. Then you experience it directly. That's pratyaksha. So Krishna consciousness this is Gyan and Vigyan. Gyan is you hear so much about Krishna consciousness and the process, how wonderful it is to chant Hare Krishna. And so you think, well, that's interesting. How do I do it? Bhakti Jamal will show you. And get the beads out, You can chant without the beads, Whatever. But when you actually chant the mantra and hear your own self, you're vibrating it, it's a different experience. That's pratyaksha. That's, And so it's very important because in other processes, like if you're going to be an impersonal meditator and you want to get liberation, I'm going to get liberation after I die. I won't come back to this world, So you work on that, And, you have to repress the senses and control the mind because it's all Maya, Everything that we revere, like Krishna's form, the holy name, it's all Maya. It's all it's just sound, The deity is made of ordinary marble. Well, you guys are crazy, We're going to the point where there's no variety. We merge into it. This is the Maya. It's a great offense, really, There's a verse in the Padma Purana, I think it is. Arche Vishnav Shiladir, Guru Shanadapatir, Vaishnave Jati Buddhir. Vishnu va Vaishnavanam Kalimalamatadam Padatirtem Buddhi. Shri Vishnu Namni Mantre Sakalta Kalasha He Shabda Samanya Buddhi. And then Vishnu Sarvesha, they say Taditata Samadir Yasyava Narakisa. You know what a Naraki is? Anyone know what Naraka means? Hell. A Naraki is a resident of hell. So he's describing all kinds of mentalities one can have, ideas that indicate, oh, that person has a hellish mentality. Arche Vishnu Shiladi. Oh, the deity? Just a stone. Shila. Shila means a stone. You know, the Shalagram Shila means the sacred stone. Arche Vishnu Shiladi. Guru Shuna, the guru, ordinary person. An ordinary man, woman, whatever. Vaishnava Jati Buddha. Vaishnava, we have to understand where they're born to see whether they're a good Vaishnava or not. In other words, you judge by the birth. Westerners, they can't become Vaishnavas. Prabhupada's godbrother, some of them had that idea. You know, it's very offensive. The water that washes the feet of Krishna, the Charanamrita, that's literally what Charanamrita means, the nectar that comes from washing the deity and comes down off the feet, you know. Or the feet of the pure devotees. That's just ordinary water. What are you so, you know, revering it for? Just ordinary water, look at it. The holy name of Vishnu, just another sound, you know. The holy name which can deliver us from all, it's described, you know, just another sound. Anyone who has this mentality is already a resident of hell. So the idea is that impersonalism can lead to that mentality because they think any variety, you know, they equate ordinary sound with spiritual sound, ordinary food with prasadam. They don't understand the very important difference. So that has to be avoided, and that illusion can be overcome by directly perceiving the benefits of Krishna consciousness. That's why it's so potent. Why anyone in any place over the world. I've been explaining. I've been trying to gather all these addresses to send them out to try to reach everyone in the ISKCON world. It used to be a lot easier when we had like 100 centers. Now there's centers everywhere. There's literally, you know, center after center, little corners of Russia, and many, many in India. And I'm trying to send a notice to them, you know. So why is that? It can spread everywhere. In the farthest corners of Malaysia and, you know, and in Africa, there's centers where people are chanting Hare Krishna. Because any living being, any human being, who takes the trouble to chant and to read the books of Prabhupada and hear pure vibration will be purified and will experience something to interest them, to draw them in, if you're doing it sincerely. And that's why we're sitting here. So this is the very important thing. And Prabhupada explains that in the direct result is actually perceived that any person is chanting Hare Krishna Hare Ram, in the course of chanting without offenses, feels some transcendental pleasure and very quickly becomes purified of all material contamination. So, ideally you chant without any offenses, and then you experience very quickly. But even if you are offensive, you experience something, you know, to induce you to give up the offenses. Now he gives this nice story here, this example of Narada Muni. Now, maidservant is kind of a euphemism. Maidservant means she didn't know who his father was. So we can extrapolate what that means. You know, she was very sincere. She was a devotee. She took these great souls in. What's described here is our famous Chaturmasya. You know what Chaturmasya means? 4 months. So every year, from July, generally through October, July, September, that's 3 months. June, July, August, September, October. Is about when the 4 months of the rainy season come. Now you have traditionally in India, these great sages and devotees, they're wandering all the time. They're going here and there, preaching and doing bhajan like that. But you can't do that when it rains, like it pours down, you know, there's too much flooding. So you need to camp somewhere. And they'll find an ashram somewhere, or they'll find a very pious person who's ready to put them up. And that's, Lord Chaitanya did that when he went to South India. That's how we get Gopal Bhatta Goswami. He was a child. He was in a family of devotees, and they were Venkata Bhatt and his brother who became Prabodhananda Saraswati, and the mother and the child Gopabhata. So they agreed to put up Lord Chaitanya for the 4 months of the rainy season. He was on tour in South India, you see. Now he was going everywhere and chanting and making thousands of devotees. He was so pure and so potent as the Supreme Personality of Godhead that people would hear him once and they would immediately become devotees. So, and he visited these great temples in South India. I think Ranganath Temple, huge temple down here, which is under the guidance, I've never been there, but I think it's under the auspices now of the Sri Sampradaya. And so, Sri Rangam. So he needed a camp, and this was a very, pure Brahmin Vaishnav's family, so he camped there. And he converted them all into Krishna Bhaktas, into devotees of Radha and Krishna in his line. They became devotees of him. So, same thing happened with Narada. His mother, being very pious, devotee, she took them in, and she's cooking for them and feeding them. And little Narada, who was to become Narada, he was serving them. He's hearing them chant and and he's serving the prasadam. And so Prabhupada paints the picture here that he's washing their dishes, and so he asked them permission, can I take some of the prasadam, kind of the remnants. And of course they gave it, and that was so purifying. We should understand how purifying real prasadam is. So by hearing, by tasting the prasadam, he became more attracted to hear. And attraction to hear Krishna Katha is the door, essential door we have to walk through to make advancement in devotional service. So Narada became very purified. And then what happened? Prabhupada doesn't explain here that when they all left and the rainy season is over, he's with his mother again. She's taking care of him, but she got bit by a snake and died. So now this little boy is all alone. But he's got faith in Krishna. So instead of looking up some auntie somewhere so he could take, he goes and just starts wandering and chanting Hare Krishna or meditating on Krishna within. And then it describes how, Krishna spoke to him in his heart. In his next birth, he was Narada Muni. He became descendant of Brahma, a son of Brahma. And he became the Narada Muni we know. He was taught by Brahma directly, and wherever he goes, he gives bhakti, just appropriate to the person, the great Narada. So the idea is that Krishna consciousness is so purifying the process, and it's so potent that you can directly perceive it. And it's proved by the Hare Krishna movement. Prabhupada came having full faith that if he just gave it as it is, and it has potency, the holy name, and when he got a chance to cook, he was the one who cooked the first Sunday feast. You can imagine how potent that was. He cooked everything. Oh my God. So that many people came back next week, for more chanting, and they became the first devotees. So that's what the wonderful thing of Krishna consciousness is. When it is given as it is and practiced with sincerity, one experiences directly the potency and the purification and the bliss, which draws you on more and more. It can be a gradual process. It may take several lifetimes, but there's nothing lost. You never lose anything. Whatever you do, sincerely, that's your eternal benefit. So that's a very important thing. Okay, any questions on this? We're going to go on exploring Prabhupada's explanation of this verse. Yes, Prabhu. No, I didn't say that. I'm not sure what you're referring to. No, yeah. If you think like that, that's hellish. That's completely wrong.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. These are all mentalities that mean that you're living in hell. In other words, they're completely wrong. But a lot of people, think like that. When Prabhupada went to India, there was a lot of doubt. He had the first time he went, he had all these Westerners with him. He called them white dancing elephants, And people were aghast. Many of them were just curious because they saw by their behavior that they really were detached, and they were blissful. You can't deny that. If someone is, happy, the spirit is in them. So in many cases, it was a revelatory experience for the Indians, But but when Prabhupada was in America before he came back to India, he was writing back, trying to get some help, He's there all alone with no money. And none of his godbrothers would help him. They had already decided, those Westerners, they're beyond the pale. You know, that's I mean, they weren't demons, you know, such, but they doubted. They had some of that mentality, which is endemic. That's what the caste system is. I've been born a Brahmin, and I'm going to lord it over you, you know. But it's not by birth, but it's by quality and activities. Yeah, exactly. It's the what does it say? Samo dhamma saptapat saksham kshanta arjumevaja jnana bhagavadgita brahma karma swabhavajam. So it's by your activities and your qualities that you judge someone, not by birth, which is, you know, obviously a dead end. Okay, let's go on. Now he goes on and to describe the word dharmyam, which is very important. This is a dharma, meaning that is a process that evokes love of God. The word dharmyam means the path of religion. Narada was actually a son of a maidservant. He had no opportunity to go to school. He was simply assisting his mother, and fortunately his mother rendered some service to the devotees. The child Narada also got the opportunity, and simply by association achieved the highest goal of all religion. The highest goal of all religion is devotional service, as stated in Srimad Bhagavatam. This is the famous 126, right near the beginning, 2nd chapter, 1st canto. Savai pung sang paro dharmo yato bhaktir adhokshaje. Religious people generally do not know that the highest perfection of religion is the attainment of devotional service. As we have already discussed in regard to the last verse of the chapter 8, Vedeshu Yaggeshu Tapaksu Chaiva, generally Vedic knowledge is required for self-realization. But here, although Narada never went to the school of the spiritual master and was not educated in the Vedic principles, he acquired the highest results of Vedic study. This process is so potent that even without performing the religious process regularly, one can be raised to the highest perfection. How is this possible? This is also confirmed in Vedic literature. Acharyavan Purusho Veda. One who is in association with great acharyas, even if he is not educated or has never studied the Vedas, can become familiar with all the knowledge necessary for realization. So the idea is that Krishna consciousness is so potent that from the time of your understanding its importance, there's so many cases like this in here. Narada Muni, he went. There was a hunter, abominable activity, and you know, hunter is a low activity, but this hunter was especially vile. He was trained by his father. There's a disciplic succession. He would half kill the animals, and they'd be writhing on the forest floor, and he'd come back and get them, you know, and then begin to keep them fresh. I don't know, you know. But Narada Muni comes walking by, and he sees that, and he says it pains him, you know, compassionate. It's either animals. It's one thing to see them killed, but another thing to see them writhing in agony. So he finally meets the hunter. And the hunter is somewhat pious. He bows down. You know, he says, "Oh, great sage, would you like something? I have some deer skins I can give you." He said, "No, I don't want any deer skin. You know, I just have one thing to ask from you. Can you please not half kill them? If you're going to kill the animal, just kill them outright. You know, put them out of their misery." So he objects. He said, "No, I was trained in this, and my father. This is what we do. You know." So Narada, this is why he's Narada. Anybody he meets, he can give just the instruction that they need. So with his mystic power, he showed this hunter what he's due, that the animals, you know, later on, after he dies, they're going to be there to torment him on his way to hell. You know, it's described. So, whoa, you know, so he said, "Well, how can I be relieved from this?" Okay, I can tell you how you can be relieved from this sinful reaction. But first, you just follow me, surrender. And by proving, what do you have to do to prove your surrender? Break your bow. In other words, give up your... But it's my means of... Don't worry, I'll provide everything for you. So this fortunate hunter, because of Narada's influence, he broke his bow, and he instructed him in devotional service, which he took up, you know. And then the story goes on. Sometime later, Narada comes back with his friend Parvat Muni. He says, "I want you to meet one of my disciples." And he told the hunter, "You just go and give everything away, give it all to the Brahmins and Vaishnavas, and you just sit there and chant Hare Krishna. You know, I'll provide everything for you." So he, in full faith, he and his wife, they had a little hut, and he's chanting Hare Krishna and doing puja. And the people were so amazed how pure devotee he was. They would come and give him all of the rice and dal that he needed, you know, much more than he needed. So anyway, he comes back with Narada comes back with his friend, and show him this hunter. He's called Mrigari, Although throughout the ISKCON world, even to this day, he's known as Mrigarari. They put that extra R in there. Mrigarari simply means Ari, enemy of the animals, enemy of the Mriga, which are animals. That's a word for a hunter. Anyway, so now, and before he even gets to the hut, the hunter sees him, and he says, "Oh, my Gurudev is here." He stands up, he starts waving his chadar in ecstasy, you know, and he wants to come down and offer obeisances. But he's taking the chadar and he's sweeping the ants out of the way before he comes and offers obeisances, because he doesn't want to hurt the ants. So this shows the transformation that he went through, from being so callous that he was ready to half kill and torment his animals, you know, little rabbits and things, when he was killing a deer. He wouldn't even hurt an insect, feeling compassion. So this shows the transforming power of bhakti, the great power and purifying power. So, Prabhupada's talking about dharma. That's this susukam dharmyam. Here now, never went to school and so forth. And the Prasadoshan is a very happy one. So that's the next part, which we'll talk about tomorrow. But this is such a wonderful essay. I understood fairly recently, within the last few years, that this purport was written as a separate essay by Prabhupada sometime. Maybe it was printed in his Back to God or somewhere. And it so nicely, systematically goes through the verse, you know, word after word. And because this verse really sets a standard. You know, it says, oh, Bhakti, the king of knowledge, is the most secret of all secrets. And at the end of the chapter, very end, he gives a verse that encapsulates the essence of all the Vedic instruction. It's the secret of all secrets. What is it? You know, manmana, bhavamad bhakto, madhyaji mam namaskuru. To think of me, become my devotee, offer your homage unto me, and worship me. Then, being connected to me in bhakti, you will certainly come to me. And Krishna reiterates this in the 18th chapter, 9 chapters later, which means that, you know, he emphasizes it. That's the essence of our practice. You know, think of me. How to think of Krishna? Oh, I chant Hare Krishna, see the deity, hear about him. You know, that's the essence. And it's been all systematized perfectly by our acharyas, Rupa Goswami, who's the first student of Lord Chaitanya. So what we're being given is the whole distillation of all the Vedic knowledge coming down. It's here in the Bhagavad Gita, but it's expanded upon in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And the essence of the whole thing is given in the writings of the Goswamis, the highest, everything. So the Kali Yuga is the most difficult of yugas. It's an ocean of faults, as described in Bhagavatam itself. Kaler dosha nidhe. Dosha means faults. Do we need to count them, enumerate them? Just look outside. You know, open up a newspaper or get onto a news site, if you dare, to see what's going on. It's just so depressing. I understand that 40% of the people in America have some kind of depression. They're on some kind of medication. That's horrifically bad. I know. And so why is that? It's because Kali Yuga is progressing so rapidly. You know, the climate change. I mean, it's so you can't get away from it, right? So we need an antidote that's as powerful or more powerful than that. And it's been given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his followers. Chant the holy name as your only refuge. And you can transcend, and even in this horrific situation, you can get some peace of mind. I was speaking about that last night. How else to deal with it? You know, in other words, we're living the Bhagavatam. We're living the 12th canto. You know, someday, maybe if you remind me, I'll read one of the chapters of the 12th canto, enumerating the horrors that we see every day in the 12th canto, written 5,000 years ago. You know, so there's no question that the great sages, they understand what's going on, and they've given us this process so that those who have faith and who are ready to practice can get some measure of peace even in this world, and and be confident that in the next life you'll be in a better position. You know, but in the meantime, you know, experiencing it ourselves, we should give it as much as possible, because that's the heart of a Vaishnava, is he sympathizes, empathizes with the suffering of others. So, I've been causing you so much suffering by haranguing you. So let's have something sweet, huh? There's actually a injunction that one should end with something sweet. Did you know that? Yeah, yeah. in any Vedic discourse. I forget the phrase, Madhudeyam Samarpiyet or something. So how about one of these nice shlokas? Prayer. You know, when we chant Hare Krishna, we're actually praying to Radha and Krishna to please engage us, please engage me in your service. So this is a beautiful poem by Krishnadas Kaviraj in his epic Govinda Lilamrita. He quotes from the parrots, the male and female parrot. The female parrot is praying especially to get the service of Srimati Radharani. And the Sanskrit is really sweet. It's very simple meter. You know, meters can be complicated, but this is so simple. Kunkamakta kanchanam jagava hari goraba pitananchitam jaganda kirti nindi soraba ballaveshu suna sabha vanchitarta sarika mayamatma parapunma dasya dastu radhika. Her gold complexion steals the pride of golden lotus tinged with red. Her fragrance mocks the scent of lotus bloom with saffron powder spread. Her skill in satisfying Sri Hari is perfect and complete. May Radhika bestow on me the service of her lotus feet. There's 8 of those. I wrote them. I can give it to you. And then, of course, there's another one by the male parrot where he's praying for service to Krishna. And he says, let's see. We don't have time for the Sanskrit. I'll give it English. His dark complexion mocks mascara, sapphires, and the blackish cloud. His garments shine like reddish rising sun with lightning bolts endowed. With sandal paste enhanced with camphor his handsome limbs replete. May Nanda's son bestow on me the service of his lotus feet. And we could all learn those. I'll give it to you. 8 verses for each one. And that's what we should be, where our mind should be. That's where you find the peace, at Krishna and Radharani's lotus feet. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hari Hari Bol.